You are sitting across from someone, their lips moving in a rhythmic, predictable cadence, yet all you can hear is the static. It is not silence. Silence is a choice, a luxury, a presence. What you are experiencing is the violent, dissonant hum of a mind forced to process too much at once. It is the sound of an internal system straining under the weight of an infinite loop. You nod. You smile. You perform the social contract of listening, but your soul has already retreated into a dark, soundproofed corner of your own psyche. You are not listening because you cannot. You are too busy surviving the sensory bombardment of a reality that demands your presence while your consciousness is screaming for an exit. This is the hidden friction of the overstimulated mind, the exhausting labor of pretending to care when your entire existence is being drained by the mere act of taking up space in the same room as another human being. It starts with a subtle vibration, a glitch in your focus. Someone talks about their day, their petty grievances, their mundane joys, and to you, it feels like they are throwing stones into a pool of water that has already frozen solid. Every word hits with an abrasive clarity, magnified tenfold. You see their facial expressions, the slight furrow of a brow, the twitch of a hand, and your brain hyperanalyzes every micro-movement as if it were a high-stakes threat. You aren't just hearing their words, you are decoding their intent, their hidden insecurities, the subtext of their loneliness, and the exhausting performance they, too, are putting on. It is a sensory overload that feels like drowning in shallow water. You want to scream for them to stop, for the world to turn down its volume, but the social mask is glued firmly to your face. You are trapped behind a wall of polite interest, watching the world move in slow motion while your thoughts accelerate toward a breakdown you cannot afford to have. Your internal monologue is a cluttered attic of half-finished projects, unresolved traumas, and the persistent, nagging voice that reminds you how disconnected you feel from the person in front of you. You are exhausted by the effort of maintaining the illusion of engagement. The paradox is cruel. The more you try to connect, the more you retreat. You find yourself focusing on the dust motes dancing in the light, or the rhythmic ticking of a clock, anything to distract from the demand of their narrative. Their voice becomes a dull roar, an invasive noise that claws at the edges of your sanity. You wonder if they can see it, the hollow look in your eyes, the way your shoulders tighten as if expecting a physical blow. You are holding your breath, waiting for the conversation to end, waiting for the moment you can return to the sanctuary of your own silence, where the only noise is the one you choose to inhabit. But even then, the silence is never truly empty. It is filled with the echoes of everything you didn't say, the weight of the social exhaustion that settles into your bones like cold lead. This is not antisocial behavior, it is a defensive reflex. Your mind has become a battlefield where the objective is to prevent the total collapse of your boundaries. When you are constantly overstimulated, the presence of another person is not an invitation, it is an intrusion. It requires a level of energy you simply do not possess. You are burning your reserves just to stay seated, just to maintain a steady gaze, just to provide the appropriate, socially sanctioned responses. It is a parasitic transaction where your empathy is consumed by the necessity of survival. You walk away feeling like a ghost, a shell that has been hollowed out from the inside. You are drained, not by the content of the conversation, but by the sheer frequency of existence. You seek the void, not because you are cruel, but because you are desperate for a place where you are not required to be anything to anyone. People talk about the gift of gab, the art of listening, the beauty of human connection, but they rarely speak of the cost. They don't mention the agonizing drain of being an observer of humanity, of feeling the vibration of everyone else's static while trying to keep your own heart from shattering under the pressure. You are trapped in a feedback loop where the more you understand, the more overwhelmed you become. You see the cracks in everyone, the desperate need for validation, the fear of being seen, and it mirrors your own hidden decay. You are not merely listening to a friend or a partner, you are absorbing the entirety of their psychological weight, and you have no more room left in your own architecture to house it. You are filled to the brim with your own noise, your own ghosts, your own silent, screaming needs. To add theirs to yours is to invite a collapse. There is a profound, terrifying honesty in realizing that you are a stranger to yourself. You have spent so long curating a facade that fits the environment, that manages the expectations of others, that you have forgotten what it feels like to be unburdened by the demand of perception. You look in the mirror and you see the mask, not the face. You recognize the routine, not the person. And as you sit there, still nodding, still playing the role, you realize that the most exhausting part of being human is not the suffering itself, but the requirement to perform wellness in the presence of others. You are waiting for a permission that will never come, a release from the cycle of being known when you would prefer to be entirely invisible. The realization hits you in the quietest, most brutal way possible. You are not losing your mind, you are losing your ability to pretend. The fatigue is not a temporary state, it is a permanent condition of your current life. You are a person built for depth, drowning in a world that only permits shallow, constant interactions. You aren't tired in the way people understand, you are fundamentally exhausted by the process of being perceived. The truth you have been avoiding is this: you are not listening to them because you are busy mourning the person you used to be before you learned how to hide. You are mourning the loss of the ability to exist without being drained by the mere proximity of another heartbeat. The louder the world screams, the quieter I become. I am never more alone than when you are standing right here.